Hi everyone, welcome. This is video 3 of our series on, hang on, I'm showing the wrong thing. This is video 3 of our series on product creation. If you recall, part 1 was about how do you make time to create your product. Excuse me. Part 2 was how do you get started the right way to increase your chances of having a successful product. And today we are talking about how to actually finish product creation. And that's because in speaking with business owners, business builders, one of the challenges around product creation was just finishing. A lot of the business owners I spoke with are spinning their wheels in terms of creating their first digital product, even if it's a smaller digital product that they mean to give away, they still can't seem to quite finish. And if that is something you're experiencing, then stick around because I have an entire presentation that I prepared just for you. You ready? Now let me get a drink of water. Excuse me, my water bottle makes that weird noise. All right. So, 5 ways to finally finish your digital product. And by the way, who's out there watching? Please say hello in the comments because that's the only way I know who's out there. And I want to say hi back. All right. You guys ready? So today, not the whole day, but just in the next half hour or so, you will learn, this is what I want to share with you, what are the signs and symptoms that you're stuck in product creation, and a gold mine for content production that you might be overlooking. You will learn about a very common mistake that may be crushing your dreams of having your very own digital product or products. Why it's better to actually not work too hard on your lead magnets. Hi Eileen, nice to see you. Glad you can make it. How I keep going when I'm feeling overwhelmed, and hat tip to David Allen, the author of Getting Things Done, for teaching me how to do this. What to do if you think you're completely stupid when it comes to technology, and even if you can't afford to hire a team yet, or a team member. And my favorite way to create products, whether it's something I'm giving away or selling. It's a lot of things, so let's get started. And as a shameless bribe to inspire you to stay for the entire video, I am offering a bonus. That's 5 ways to finally finish your digital product. This is a workbook that I am especially proud of. I think if you go through this workbook, you will get momentum to finish your digital product. So stick around because at the end of this presentation, I'm going to show you how you can get access to this bonus. All right. In case this is your first time seeing me, listening to me, let me just quickly introduce myself. As I said, I'm Lexi Rodrigo. I am an online business owner and I started in 2008. So that's 10 years. And the very first thing I did online was actually to write for websites. And that's how I made my first $100. But it wasn't until I became a copywriter that I actually earned my first $1,000. And I've been doing that since 2008 as well. And since then, I've become a copywriter and content marketer for 6- and 7-figure businesses. So I have learned a lot about the behind the scenes of these huge businesses that I think even those who are just getting started with their business can learn from. And that's what I love to share. Hi, Anazi. Glad to see that you can make it. I'm also a coach and consultant because I know not everyone can hire me, but I just love to share what I learn from working with bigger businesses. And so I do make myself available to those who are still building their businesses as a coach and consultant. And I am a co-author of this book that you're seeing, Blog Post Ideas. I'm co-author with Jim Hopkinson and Danny Innie of Miracy. And the other picture you're seeing there is my 3 lovely children during our trip to Vancouver in the summertime. And I so miss warm weather right now. All right, how do you know that you're stuck? As if you don't know, right? But just in case, here are the signs that you're stuck, you're spinning your wheels, and you have to do something about it. When you're thinking or saying things like, oh, this is taking forever. Like I wanted to create an ebook or a course or just a little PDF to give away, and it's taking forever. It's taking a lot longer than I expected. Or if you're saying things like, I'm struggling with writing, I am not a writer, why is writing so hard? And related to that, if you're the type of person that you've written several drafts of your product and you still haven't gotten it out there. Or if you're saying things like, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. And related to that, I just can't keep up with all the technology. Because if you're creating a digital product and you're building an online business, it's inevitable that you have to deal with technology. But good news, you can do something about it, and that's what you're about to learn. All right, so the 5 ways to finish a digital product. My tip number 1 is to use existing content. Now, you may not realize it, and you might be trying to create something from scratch. But in fact, you already may have created a lot of content that you can easily repackage, reformat into a different type of digital product that you can give away to build your mailing list or sell. So, an obvious example, if you're a blogger, your blog posts. Look at your blog posts, especially your most popular blog posts, or they don't even have to be popular blog posts, but the ones that you're most proud of. And sometimes, you know how it is with bloggers, is we write amazing stuff and then it somehow doesn't really get traction. For whatever reason, it doesn't get a lot of traffic, and that might be because of a lack of promotion, right? And let me tell you, true story, pro blogger, Darren Rouse, and if you're a blogger, you probably know Darren Rouse, pro blogger of problogger.net, and I think now it's .com. Darren Rouse is one of the first few bloggers who started making tons of money with his blog. Now, one of his first, if not his first, paid products was an ebook, and now I think it's a physical book. That's just 30 blog posts from his blog compiled together into one document. Now, those blog posts, he didn't take them out of his blog. You could still go to his blog and read it for free, but he still packaged them together into a book that you have to buy. And people didn't mind, people didn't complain, because the point is, when you put it together into a book, it's organized, it's easy to consume. And when he reformatted his blog posts into a book, I think he actually added to the content, but just a little bit. So that was like the easiest way to put together a book. And I did something similar with my website, a freelancing website that I used to own, that I've since sold. I just wrote a list of 30 blog posts. I wrote and I published them every day for a month. So as a result of that, my traffic grew exponentially just from publishing new content every day for a month. And then I turned that into a lead magnet where I said 30 days to do this, 30 days to launch your freelancing business. And I set up an autoresponder of emails where every day for the next 30 days, I was just emailing people, okay, here's day 1, read it on the blog. Here's day 2, read it on the blog, and so on for 30 days. So just to show, and this one I gave it away, it's not something that I asked payment for, but that was my most popular lead magnet on that website. And that's how I quickly built my mailing list. It just goes to show, if you've been blogging for a while, you might already have content that you can easily turn into a lead magnet or even a paid product. Okay, what if, excuse me, I need to take a drink. All right, let me just show you something here. Oops, I'll have to do that later. But Anazi is saying, so true, convenience is worth paying for. Absolutely. So just the fact that you've organized your blog posts into a format that's easier for people to find and to consume and to go through, that already makes it worth paying for. So what if you haven't been blogging? Think of live presentations that you've delivered, either in person or online. Let's say you've been doing webinars. Those things are lead magnets as well, or you can easily turn them again into a paid product. If you have several, especially a live presentation that took like 45 minutes, like a 45-minute live presentation is easily a digital product that you can charge for. How about interviews you've given? Have you been interviewed on podcasts, even on the radio, or on other people's blogs where you just typed your answer? Now, most of the time you can ask the person who interviewed you for permission to use that interview somehow. And although you probably will not want to use the interview, like the recording as is, again, you can reformat that content, the content of that interview, into either a lead magnet or a paid digital product. Now, how about this? Emails that you've sent to your clients and your customers, support emails, other emails, especially ones where your answer is quite long and detailed, or even combined emails that are related about related topics from your customers. Now, this is a good source of content because if somebody, one of your customers, some of your customers are emailing you these questions, that means these are issues and challenges and problems that's on top of their minds at that they want to solve. So if you turn that into a lead magnet or a paid product, you already have an indication that there is some kind of a demand for this content. So don't put those emails to waste. Look in your sent email folder and just comb through them, see if there's a common theme in the emails that people are sending you and the questions that they're sending you, and see if you could very easily put that together into content, into digital product. And finally, look at your social media posts. If you're active on Facebook, if you're in a LinkedIn group, if you're on, where else, Twitter, and you posted something that got a lot of reactions, where people commented and engaged with you, that's again a sign that this is a specific topic that they're concerned about. So you might want to develop that into, at the very least, into a lead magnet. Or even, let's say you're active in a Facebook group and somebody posted a question where you gave a detailed answer. That answer that you gave, you can easily develop that into a digital product. At the very least, a lead magnet. So that's tip number 1. Okay, tip number 2 is to keep it simple. Now, when I say simple, there's different aspects that you want to look at. First of all is the format. If you're just getting started, I would discourage you from going after, creating a full-blown online course that's made up of videos, for example, or an entire membership site. It's just because if you're getting started, these are more difficult formats, and it's going to take you longer than it should to actually finish, just because you're if you're getting started, you probably don't have all the technology required, you're not used to it, you have to purchase so many pieces of software or even equipment and so on. If you're getting started, I want you to focus on formats that require little or no writing. And this is possible. For example, what I'm doing right now is a live video. The only writing that I've had to do was to come up with a title, a description to post on Facebook. And that's it. But I'm creating content, I'm delivering content without having to write. Okay? And if I wanted to, I could have asked you to subscribe first before giving you access to this live training. So already I could have turned this into a lead magnet. But I can still do that later on. I can take this recording, and as I said, this is video 3, right? I can take the 3 videos, bundle them together, and turn that into a digital product. And I can even ask people for money, because I can take this out of my Facebook page. I can unpublish it. You can set it up so that when it's live, people can see it, and then right after I end the live broadcast, no one can see it anymore. Okay. So live video is actually one of my favorite ways to create content with little to no writing. So other formats that require very little writing are checklists, workbooks, cheat sheets, that kind of thing. And don't think that just because they have few words in them that they don't have value. Not at all. In fact, if you're familiar with Lead Pages, when Lead Pages was new, I attended one of their webinars, and they said that based on their data, their own data, their most popular lead magnet was actually a 1-page list of resources. 1 page. But that was their most successful lead magnet, which goes to show that it's not how long a piece is that determines the usefulness. And I'll have more about that later on. So another thing to think of in terms of format is to aim for low tech. Now what I'm doing right now, like I said, live video is my favorite way to create content without hardly any writing involved. But it's not low tech. Right now I'm using a laptop, I have a USB microphone, I have my camera, and I'm using Keynote, this slideshow software, and I'm using another software that's enabling me to show you my slides. So it's a little bit high tech. Of course, I could have done it completely low tech and just used the built-in camera and microphone on my laptop, but the quality wouldn't be where I'd like it to be. So when you're just getting started, again, focus on making it as low tech as possible. Like a PDF, a 1-page PDF, that's low tech. You could do that with Google Docs. Create your sheet on Google Docs, export it as a PDF, or even just share a link to the Google Doc. Okay? So keep things low tech. Now, I heard of somebody who bought a course and it cost them $3,000 for this course. And you know what it involved? It wasn't a course with videos. No, it was access to Google Docs. And this person did not regret it because the content was worth $3,000, if not more, to her. Right? So I know everyone nowadays, they're putting out courses that are all these fancy looking videos with the green screen, but you don't have to do that in order to be valuable. Now, in terms of simplicity, you also have to think of your scope. I know when we create our digital product and we're thinking of our subscriber or our customer, and we want to give them so much value that our tendency is just to throw up everything that we know into the product. But that may actually not be the best thing for our audience. A better way is to keep the scope of your product narrow but deep. So what do I mean by narrow? Narrow means you focus on one result, one thing that you want your reader, your audience to get from your product. And that's why I think a checklist, a one-page resource list is very popular. It's very narrow, it's very specific. For example, I could give away a list of all the things that I use for my Facebook Lives. That's just one sheet, right? It's narrow, it's specific. Someone can take it and take action on it right away. Versus if I gave away an entire manual of step-by-step how to do a Facebook Live. First of all, it's going to take time for the person to consume that manual. And because of that, they may not be able to implement right away. Okay, so narrow in scope, but deep, meaning that you get as detailed as necessary for the person to actually implement what you're teaching. So my one-page sheet of my Facebook Live resources will list, for example, hardware and software, and include links to where they can get the stuff. Okay, it doesn't have to be deeper than that. And when I say keep things simple, also think of your cost. Not how much you're charging for your product, but how much it's costing you to create your product. Again, especially for beginners, don't think of sinking down hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars even on your first product. It's absolutely not necessary. I was attending a webinar by Shane Milah of Thrive Themes and Plugins, which, as you know, is what I use for my website and which I absolutely love. And so Shane said that go for low cost, because low cost means low risk. And when you're just getting started, you don't want to risk your life savings putting up a digital business, putting out a product that, for the most part, is still untested. Test it, and as you start making sales, then you can make it better. You can reinvest the money that you earn into making your products better. More on that later on. All right. Tip number 3 is to just focus on the next step. And this is because a lot of us, we think of the end result, right? The digital product that we want to create. And especially if you're new at this, it's just so overwhelming, and that paralyzes you. And I know I can feel that way sometimes. I still feel that way sometimes, even though I've been doing this for 10 years. Especially when it comes to my own business, because I am a one-person business. I do everything myself. So, hang on, let me just get a drink again. This is what I learned from the book Getting Things Done by David Allen. So what he learned is just to focus on the next step. Okay? What's the next step? Do that. What's the next step? Do that. And in order to do that, we need to know what the steps are. So divide and conquer. So let's say I am envisioning launching, let's say, a short course that is made up of videos, right? So if I think about it that way, it's this huge project. When I start feeling overwhelmed, I actually sit down and just list out all the steps that need to be done in order to reach that end goal. And then I order the steps. Now, I put them in order of what needs to happen first. And usually you need to work backwards. So you start with the end result, which is your digital product, and then trace the steps backwards until you're at the next step. So for right now, what is my next step? For right now, if I want to have that course let's say I want to launch a course in January that's made up of videos. What is the next step right now is just actually to sit down and identify my topic. That's it. If it's just sitting down and thinking of my topic and coming up with a topic and just deciding this is my topic, that's something really easy for me to do. I'm not going to get overwhelmed. Okay. And the other thing that David Allen says is very important. Get it out of your head. Don't keep everything in your mind, because that's going to stress you out. It's going to make you anxious, because all these things are going to be on the back of your mind, like, oh, I have to do all these things. Get them out. Write them on paper. What I like to do after I organize things, like sometimes I don't even write it down on paper first. I go straight to my Todoist account. I don't know if you've heard of Todoist, but that's how I organize myself every day. I go on Todoist, I create a project, I just spill out all the steps, and then I turn them into tasks. Okay, so get it out of your head, because if it stays in your head, that's going to stress you out. Hi Linda Smith. Thanks for joining. By the way, guys, if you have any questions at any point, please post them in the comments. I will get to all your questions and comments at the end of this presentation. So tip number 4 is just don't do it. So this is not the Nike motto of just do it. What I'm saying is just don't do it. And by it, I mean everything. Just don't do everything. Which is weird, because I just told you I'm a one-person business and I do tend to do everything. But as I said, I've been doing this for 10 years, so I can handle it, right? But when I got started, I did not do everything myself. And come to think of it, you will see later on how I am not doing everything myself. And, it's important. You've heard this before, I'm sure. Play to your strengths. Do what you're good at, because that's how you're going to be most effective and efficient, as well as satisfied and happy with what you're doing. If you're doing something that you're good at, then you're going to turn out good work, and you're going to be happy doing it. And the advice that I like to say to my clients, and this is because I work with business owners who are already established, they already have profitable businesses, and they have enough profits to reinvest in their business. I tell them to outsource, especially when they complain about the technical stuff. I tell them, you know what, don't even bother trying to learn how to wrangle WordPress or whatever it is they're using. Just hire a virtual assistant, hire somebody to take care of the back end for you, because it's more profitable for them to do the things that are bringing in money in their business. And I realize if you're getting started, this may not be an option for you yet. If you're getting started and you don't have a lot of money to invest in your online business, or you heard from somebody that online businesses don't take a lot of capital, and it's true, but it still takes some investment. And if you have more time than money to invest in your business, then don't outsource yet. But keep in mind that eventually it's better for you to outsource. So what if you don't have the money to outsource? If you can't afford yet to hire a VA or whatever other assistant or freelance writer to take care of the writing for you, what can you do? Get free help. And there's several ways to do this that you may not have thought about. So, for example, use Google. So, true story, a woman that I used to work with, and at that time she was single. I don't know why I felt it was important for me to say that, but her washing machine broke down. And I don't know about you, but where I live, it can be pretty expensive to have these things fixed. So instead of calling somebody to fix her washing machine right away, she went on Google and typed, how do you blah, blah, blah. She found a YouTube video. She followed that video and she fixed her washing machine. So if you can learn how to fix a washing machine by using Google, you can pretty much learn how to do stuff on your WordPress site, how to, I don't know, create a checklist, whatever it is you're trying to do. You can probably find an answer on Google. Another true story, I used to work for a software company, and every time I reached out to the engineer, the programmer, to ask him about something in the software, 99% of the time, his answer to me would be, have you looked in Google? And so eventually I stopped asking him. I would just go straight to Google. That's how awesome Google is. And we all need to celebrate the fact that we live in this age where most of the answers to life's most pressing questions are in Google. Okay. Second way to get free help is to really use the customer support that is available with the tools that you're using. And this is specifically for technical stuff. So let me tell you what I was doing over the weekend. I was setting up my product site and my payment processor that comes with an affiliate management program. And I was having problems. I didn't know, like, why was my affiliate not getting to my sales page? So very simply, I sent a customer ticket. Now, it being the weekend, I didn't get my answer right away. I got my answer on Monday, which turned out the answer, the solution was really simple. So I didn't have to keep banging my head trying to figure things out, because there's somebody on the other end of the line who has all the answers and whose only job is to respond to my answers. So first of all, don't get a tool that does not come with customer support. Especially if you're paying for it, right? Don't get any paid tool, software, or platform that does not come with customer support. Sometimes, what I do before I buy something, I test their customer support. Before I buy it, I send a ticket asking just, a simple question, and I see how quickly they respond, and I look at the quality of the response. So if you're buying a tool, a software especially, or a platform, make sure they have good customer support. And that's the other reason actually why I really love Thrive themes and plugins, is because they have customer support. It's 24/7, and they respond right away. And at least 2 times they've just gone into my site and just did it for me. Okay. So the other way that you can get free help is through forums or groups that you belong in. For example, I belong to a couple of Facebook groups of business owners, online business owners. And typically I can just go there and ask, hey, like, how do you do this? Does anyone know how to figure this out? And I've also gone there because I've seen some questions about Thrive, and I've gone there and responded and said, oh, it's easy. This is how you do it. And that's free support, people. So don't forget to tap the forums and groups, or even just your friends, right? If you know somebody who's really good with WordPress, who's really good with technical stuff, then they are probably willing to help you. And finally, another way that you can get free help is by bartering. And I remember doing this a lot when I was getting started. I would barter my writing services for somebody else's stuff. I can't remember what. So if you offer, like, you yourself, you have things that you're good at, you have things that you can do easily, then if you can't afford to pay someone, see if you can barter for their services. And one last thing before I move to the 5th tip is Stop learning, start doing. If you were trying to do everything yourself, you might be enrolled in several programs where you're learning how to do it. For example, you might be in a program about how to do Facebook ads, and then you're in a program about how to do funnels. Well, if you are spending more time going through the program than you are implementing, then you are doing too much learning. It's what I like to do is have a 1-to-1 ratio where for every hour that I spend learning, I'm spending 1 hour actually doing and implementing. Does that sound familiar? Is that something you guys do as well? Like do too much learning and not enough doing? I know I do that. And tip number 5 is first sell, then create. Okay, excuse me, I need to sip water again. So this is something I was speaking with somebody who's been trying to create her lead magnet and wanting to put it out there so she can build her mailing list. And I told her, well, you don't actually have to have the lead magnet yet created before building your mailing list. Like you can get people into your mailing list already. Now, let me give you a specific example. The freelancing website that I mentioned, I used to do monthly webinars where I was just interviewing people, experts, other freelancers who are successful freelancers. And so I put up an opt-in form on the website saying, hey, sign up and you'll get access to these monthly webinars. Like I didn't have to have the webinar already. They know it's coming, right? So when the time came for the webinar, then they would get an email from me saying, the webinar is taking place on this day. This is how you access it. So in the same way, right? You don't have to have your lead magnet yet. You can say, sign up to receive this, and then you can have an autoresponder saying, hey, the PDF is on its way, just hang tight. But just make sure that you do deliver, right? Don't keep them waiting too long. So, and you can do something similar with a paid product as well. Like the webinar example that I gave, you can charge for that webinar. You can sell it first, right? I can schedule a webinar for 2-3 weeks down the line and start telling people about it and start receiving payment for it before I actually do the webinar. Okay. What you need, first of all, is just a concept and a general outline of what's going to be in your product. You need that because, you need that to sell it. Okay? And then to sell, you don't even have to have a sales page. All you need is a PayPal account, create a PayPal button, because when you create a PayPal button, you also get a link that you can email to people. If you don't have a sales page, you can just email the link to people and they can pay you for it. Or if you're doing a webinar, I use Webinar Jam, and Webinar Jam can link to my PayPal account, and people can just pay me through Webinar Jam, in Webinar Jam, right? So don't even think like you need a whole sales page already. Or Webinar Jam itself creates a landing page for me, and that can function as my sales page. Or let's say you want to do a lead magnet, and you're using MailChimp, for example, and other email service providers can do this as well, is that MailChimp itself can provide a landing page where I can start getting people into my mailing list. So, as I said earlier, like don't let the technical stuff get in your way, and don't let it stop you just because you want everything to be so sophisticated and so slick and perfect to begin with. It doesn't have to be. Okay, so you sell, and then you create or deliver. And for this, I really like doing live presentations because that's where you're creating and you're delivering at the same time. And then after you deliver, because you already have customers, right? Then you can get their feedback, then you can improve your product, and then sell version 2.0 and create and deliver again. So my last employment was with Miracy, and some of you may be familiar with Miracy. Miracy creates these wonderful online courses, but Danny, he didn't start out with a really sophisticated online course. His first online course was a slideshow. It didn't even look that great. It was a slideshow that he recorded with his voiceover, and that's it. But he has kept improving through the years. And as you improve, you can charge more, and then you can create and deliver better products and keep improving, and it becomes a virtuous cycle. So, to summarize the 5 ways that you can finish fast. First of all, use your existing content. Don't reinvent the wheel. 2, keep it simple in terms of format, scope, and cost. Stick to the format and the scope and the cost that are within your reach for right now. 3, focus on the next step. 4, just don't do it. Don't try to do everything. Get help, whether free or paid. And number 5, first sell, then create. So I am not talking at all about creating bad products, okay? I'm not talking about being shoddy and mediocre and putting it out there. No. I'm talking about delivering things that are of value. But you see, the value you deliver is not about how sophisticated, how slick your product is. It's more about how well your product really helps your customers get the results that they want. And you know what? Usually that doesn't mean making it more complicated. Usually the more simple we make things, the simpler we keep things, the better it is for the end user, because they're able to consume it more quickly, they're able to act on it more easily. And with that, thank you very much for sticking around. You have earned your bonus. You can go to alexisrodrigo.com/finish to sign up for your workbook, 5 ways to finally finish your digital product. That is a 9-page PDF that you will print out and you can write on it. And I'm so excited because I think as you go through this workbook, you're going to get a lot of ideas for a lot of digital products that you can create right away to build your mailing list and to make sales. All right. So let's look at the comments. Anazi, so true. Convenience is worth paying for, and this is why you don't always have to make things so complicated, right? And this is why even existing products can be valuable to the end user. Now, I don't know why my face is super white. Okay, Linda. Hello, Linda Smith. Linda says, as usual, this is amazing stuff. Thank you. Thank you. And, it's not actually Linda, it's David. David, get off of your wife's Facebook account. My husband does this too, by the way. So, David, thank you for being here again and for the kind words. I am so stoked that you're finding this valuable. And I want to see you finish your digital product, okay? Anazi says that that's a great ratio guideline. Yeah. And that comes from experience of somebody who's spent way too much time learning and not enough time doing. But I'm changing my ways. So anything else, guys? Questions, comments? Type them in the comments. If you're watching a recording, still type your comments because I do go back to the videos to make sure that I've not missed any questions, even from those who watch the recording. Well, we're 44 minutes into this presentation. I did want to keep them to 30 minutes, so I'm going to let you guys go so you can go ahead and request this workbook and get working on your digital product. And let me know how it goes, okay, guys? Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!